PPC can be incredibly difficult, especially if you don't have the correct data sources. One of the most resourceful pieces of data that we have access to as sellers in Amazon is a search query performance report. Today I have Damien joining us from My Real Profit, and Damien is an absolute wizard when it comes to understanding the search query performance report, and I wanted to get him on to really break down each element inside of it and how we can use it in order to get more sales.
Hello everyone, hi Hunter. Thank you so much for inviting me. In this video, I will share all my expertise that I had during the 8 years working with big Amazon brands about how to use search query performance report. We will take actionable steps from it, where you can find this reporting, how can you utilize it, and what are the use cases for this reporting. And there are a ton of different options.
Yeah, awesome. And just from a curiosity sake, before we really jump into the actual data itself, we have tools like Helium 10 and Data Dive, and going into those intricacies. Obviously, first-party data is going to be typically more accurate, right, than third-party data. How do you prioritize this data before implementing third-party tools, for instance?
So both of the tools are important. Yeah. So the Amazon 1P data has pros and cons as well as third-party data. For example, Amazon search volume and Helium 10 search volume have two different approaches. Amazon search volume is unique searches, yeah, while Helium 10 shows you customer search and multiple clicks, and each click on the product detail page equals as a search. Yeah, so that's why you can see that search volume of Helium 10 is not as accurate as Amazon. The reality, those have just a different purpose and different calculations. So I suggest to implement both. Tools like Data Dive can help you upgrade your SEO. Tools like Helium 10 can help you with the product research, tracking other markets. It's pretty easy, and there are a bunch of different features that you can use. Search query performance report will help you with tracking your market share, tracking and understanding how you perform across your competitors. And obviously, Helium 10 provides you with search volume, but Helium 10 does not provide you with clicks. Helium 10 provides you with the average performance of purchases, but not by keyword. Search query performance report can provide you with the keyword level data, and this is something that you don't get across any other tool. So keyword level data is the difference between all of other tools, thanks to this reporting.
So let's pull up a brand and kind of go through the basic outline for the search query performance report. I'm sure the first question is, how do you even find this, which is inside your brand, inside of Amazon Seller Central, but let's show them the pathway to actually be able to even pull it up, and we can walk through the actual report.
First of all, where you can find this report, you need to have a brand registry. Yeah, so you need to be brand registered, and after that you get access to the brand analytics section. This brand analytics section is located on the burger menu. So on the left, you click here, and then you have brands, brand analytics. You click on brand analytics, and then you click search analytics, search query performance. So as you can see, it's already a little bit confusing and overwhelming. Yeah, Amazon made it like one of the most important reports, but we're gonna hide it as far as possible from you. So you will need to watch videos like this one to figure out where it's located.
Yeah, I think Amazon's pretty well known for its amazing UI system and its seller friendliness.
Yeah, so once you enter the search query performance page, you will have multiple options. You can see data by brand. So this will contain 1,000 keywords for all your products. And then you have also the ASIN view. On the ASIN level, you will get performance by each product. We will use the brand view because they are exactly the same. They have just a different breakdown by keyword or by keyword and ASIN. On search query performance tab, also a couple of things. You have a page called metric glossary. Once you click on this page, you will get a breakdown from Amazon, like what each metric means. We'll still go through all of the metrics most of the times because Amazon also keeps some information secret that we know. And yeah, other thing is pretty basic, you know, like picking the date ranges and so on. Also, you can download it into Excel file, and yeah, that's it.
Awesome. And do you feel like most brands are able to utilize this, or is there a specific kind of range where you see that it becomes useful? And after that, how do you typically, from a viewpoint, analyze it? Do you do like week by week, month by month, quarter by quarter?
This report will be helpful for any brand, but as you scale, you will utilize it in a different way. The search query performance report is working the best for brands that are already having the, let's say, list of the keywords where they are dominating. So let's say it provides you with 1,000 keywords. Obviously, you're not tracking all of them. Most likely you track 20 to 30 keywords. Those are your main keywords. So it will be helpful for any brand, because if you're making sales on Amazon, most likely you need to know the keywords where you're making your sale from. Now, those are the pros. The cons of this reporting is the way how it attributes the data. So it's a little bit unique and it has a lot of tricky parts. of how the data is calculated in it. So before getting some actionable insights from it, you need to make sure you understand how everything is calculated. Why I'm saying this is because when a brand that, let's say, generates about $20,000 in revenue per month, or like $30,000 per revenue month, they will see that their purchases, because you have an option to scroll, and you will see search funnel, add to carts, and then you have purchases. Their purchases will be very small, like 1, 2, 3, 5 units. And they say, oh, this is not true. I make much more revenue, so I don't trust this reporting. And then this is when they stop utilizing the SQP. But the reason for that is Amazon has a very unique calculation method, and we can deep dive into this.
Can you shed a little bit more light on that by percentage difference, and what is it really calculating in terms of, you know, that percentage, and why does it throw most brand owners off?
Firstly, let's start how Amazon structured this report. Yeah, you have search query, which is your keyword. Then you have search query score. This is the scoring provided by Amazon, and they say like number 1 is the best performing keywords for your brand. Yeah, like they do like overall performance. Then you have the search query volume, which is search volume, and we talked about this earlier. Yeah, so we discussed this earlier, that search volume is different from Helium 10 and other estimation tool. And then you have sections: impressions, clicks, and then you have add to carts and purchases. Now let's start with impressions. What does impression mean overall? Impression shows you when the customer entering the search engine results page, and I open it here, yeah, they are creating impressions. So they are not clicking on the product, but they are creating impressions. Now, here is the tricky part about impressions. If shopper is using desktop, once the page is loaded, each of the products that got loaded is getting impression. And that means it's about 50 impressions right away. So one search generates 50 impressions. If you're using mobile phone, so let me show you how it looks like from the mobile phone. It's a little bit different. So if you are using mobile phone, Amazon has a lazy load system. That means it will load a specific amount of products. And if I will quickly scroll down, you can see it's loading. And those are about 15 products. So depending on the mobile and on the desktop, there will be a different amount of impressions. Overall, that's important to understand, because what you will get confused with is that amount of total impression is 10 million. While keyword search volume is for almost 400,000. Yeah. So like, why the impressions are much higher than search volume? Because each product is getting impression. Then you have your product brand count. So like how many impressions my brand is generating. And then you have brand share. This is your percentage to total. Yeah. So like, what is my share across total impressions? Then you have the same with the clicks. Clicks is the most accurate metric in this reporting. It has no tricky calculations. Those are just clicks. Now, add to carts is also pretty straightforward, but if your brand has a lot of variations, so like one parent ASIN that contains a lot of child ASINs, and you bring traffic to one product, but customers are buying different product, you will see the impression and click attributed in this report. But if they switch from the product that they clicked on, it will not get add to cart and purchase. Yeah, so that's important. That's why I'm saying that clicks is super important. Clicks is very helpful. Add to cart rate and purchases is also helpful if you have like single ASIN variation, or you have like 2 to 3 products and usually customer click on product and buy that product. So then it's totally fine, but you also need to take this into account. And purchases overall, it's the only part of the purchases, it uses 24-hour attribution window. So when customer add your product to cart, but they decide to wait, let's say 1 day, this purchase will not be attributed in this report. So there is a bunch of tricky things. When you start utilizing it, you will get used to it. And also the most important part in this report is percentages. That's what matters. Like, what is my impression share? What is my click share? What is my add to cart share and purchase share? Percentages are calculated based on market data. And the way how Amazon calculates market data, it's exactly the same how they calculate it for your brand. So that's why percentages are the most important part of this report.
Yeah, obviously super, super important. A lot of actionable data to implement into the brands, and utilizing this to understand those KPIs really helps when you want to expand and understand what keyword you want to target. And like for us at GigaBrain, we try to make sure and hyper focus on specific search terms where we think there's the most opportunity. And we really evaluate, okay, based on this metric, this is a way that we can push forward from a creative standpoint in order to gain on those specific keywords. And without this data, it's difficult for us to really, really understand the overall performance performance. You know, something I wish was a little bit more possible, just segregating it from mobile to desktop so you could have like separate numbers, because unless that is possible, because, you know, one thing that we really run into is most brands are optimizing for Amazon.com, right? And they're doing a lot of their testing from main images and, you know, so on and so forth, strictly from the desktop search. When in fact, I mean, a good majority, you know, if not the majority, I think it's like 60%, right, are really coming from mobile. And with us, we take this information and we implement it into our main image through either, you know, say there's a specific size that people are searching for, or a specific color, or understanding that kind of root search and the intent behind that search. And we solve that problem for the search, for the consumer, before they even know in their mind what they're looking for. So we're trying to analyze those brain waves early and get ahead of them. And this gives us the path to understanding this is what we can really implement to actually move the dial.
Exactly. And you're totally right, Hunter. We also see this. A lot of brands are focusing on, like, you know, they work from computer because this is their job. They sell on Amazon and this is their business. But from the shopper perspective, from what we see year over year, the percentage of mobile purchases and mobile sessions is taking over desktop. And as you mentioned, 60%. For some of the brands that we work with, we see 70%. Yeah. So like most of the times you should focus on mobile because mobile is more important. Now there is also a second point that mobile has a higher conversion rate than desktop. It's easier to make a purchase from your mobile phone, and that's the reality. So yeah, this is a super important point. Like tracking your mobile performance is highly important.
What percentage of the overall purchases from Amazon come from mobile?
Oh, unfortunately, this data we don't know.
But if you had to guess, just from like the metrics, I know like we don't have a clear pulse on that, but
I would say 65% are from mobile. But you also, it's very important to also, you know, every brand is unique and also every category is different. Let's say if we're talking about categories like health and beauty, the majority of the traffic will come from mobile because people like searching for Amazon in the evening and seeing what's new, or maybe they need some products. And there are some B2B products. I have clients that are selling couches. Imagine they are selling like couches for a couple $1,000s on Amazon. And guess what? Most of the traffic is not from mobile. Yeah. So those are just important steps to understand, like here's our category, and then we need to understand our category. And that's where the search query performance is becoming very helpful, because it shows your performance across average market performance, and it gives you understanding how I perform versus market. So we are getting to the second step of the metrics, because the metrics that you see here are not all of the metrics that you can do. You can calculate some of them on your own. So as an example, you have clicks and you have impressions. If you divide brand count clicks to impressions brand count, you will get your CTR. And you can do the same for market, and now you get market CTR. Compare both of them, you can see if your CTR is better or worse, and now it gives you a question if my main picture is doing well, or actually I need to work on it, I need to optimize it. And also, don't get me wrong, you always need to work on your main picture. That's never ending process. You can do the same for cart ads and clicks. Your cart ad brand count divided by clicks brand count will provide you with your add to cart rate. And this is where you will see how the price point is important for your category. That's what we see across all the brands. Your add to cart rate can be significantly lower than average market if you sell premium products. You can have a high CTR, low add to cart rate, and then you got into a problem. Then I pay for clicks and I have high CTR, so my ads are performing well, but they are not converting. And that's the conversion rate issue. And then you work on your product detail pages and you work on your bullet points and everything. And obviously, you know, if you're just starting or just performing on Amazon, or you're stuck, there are companies like Gigabrain that can help you with that. Yeah, because they have a ton of experience optimizing everything in terms of content, product detail pages. Customer experience is a key to grow on Amazon. And the last one, obviously, is purchases. Brand count divided into cart ads brand count, or also total count, will give you carts to purchases. You will be surprised, but on average, 60% of the customers that added your product to cart will drop off. So like there is a huge drop off after they add your product to cart. So that's also a cool metric. And the last one will be purchases divided into clicks, and it will provide you with the conversion rate. Yeah. So now you can track your conversion rate by keyword and see for which keywords you're converting better or for which keywords you're converting worse. Obviously, there will be a dependency. The higher search volume, the more generic keyword, the lower conversion rate. and it is what it is.
Yeah, definitely. And you kind of nailed it on the head. I think a lot of brands get this concept where it's just a traffic issue and they want you to spend more on PPC, or they want you to somehow magically gain sales, but they don't always want to put in that work in terms of optimizing that creative experience, optimizing the overall buyer journey and the customer experience in general, in order to make sure each of these specific metrics are working. And a lot of times I'll even see the brands coming at this in the wrong way. So the way that we do it at GigaBrain is we analyze, essentially, we go from the top of the funnel down to the bottom of the funnel. So understanding the core components, your click-through, your conversions, understanding how many add to carts you're getting, are they actually converting, is so critical. And it's something that I very rarely see brands actually implementing. And I think that's one of the big issues with strictly PPC services in general, because it's not fully encompassing the full flywheel, right? In order to really scale on Amazon, we need all these different elements. It's super, super hard for small brands, right? We need to have our catalog, right? We need to have creative. We need to have PPC, and then we need to have our SEO. And then on top of that, we kind of need like a full-time reporting system that combines everything, so we're able to really move that flywheel forward. And that's essentially what, these type of things like Search Query Performance Report, but also My Real Profit does amazingly, is isolating down the source of truth and those bottlenecks inside your traffic in order to take it to the next level. It's literally such a flywheel, because as these dominoes fall, it just has this stacking effect, right? So like a lot of brands come, they like want change in like 2 months or a month. And it's sure we do see change a lot of times, but I'm a firm believer that everything good in life comes from compound interest and kind of that change over time. So like for me in my personal journey, right? I used to be 230 pounds, and now I'm 170 pounds, right? And that didn't happen overnight. That was me going to the gym every day, me getting rid of my bad habits, me kind of making that change. And that got me like my first taste of the compound interest, is just the personal part. And then the second part that really affected me was sobriety, right? I'm 900 and something days sober. And through that, when I first went sober, I couldn't even leave my room. I had agoraphobia. I was scared to go outside. Like all my sensors were just so messed up. And through 1% better every day, I was able to change my life. Now I'm traveling the world again, living in Brazil, being able to do the things I love. And that was through 1% improvements. And really, Amazon's the same thing as that personal journey. It has kind of that hand-in-hand effect, where if we just implement 1% better every day, the effect over 1 year, 2 years, 3 years is just massive, right? And it doesn't even have to be that long. A lot of times it's 3 to 6 months, but we need to make sure we're continually improving in the right direction. So typically with the brands and in life, we have the 80-20 principle, very common principle in business, where 20% of what we do results in 80% of the rewards, right? So especially in e-commerce, where there's just so much stuff that you can do that has no effect on the business. Like I see people spending 80% of their time on the 80% that does nothing, like updating, some sort of logo or making some sort of change. What you really need to do is use data sources like this to isolate down that, 20%. And a lot of times this is the 10% that's going to move that dial,
For sure. As you mentioned, it's a flywheel. If your product looks bad on Amazon, you cannot try to optimize advertising without firstly optimizing your product. Sellers, you need to always to remember that customers enter Amazon, they know nothing about you. And they have only one picture to make their decision. You have only one picture to prove them you're the best. Like there is nothing. And you fight for pixels. Imagine, like right in front of you, there is someone who holds a bestseller, someone who has a better price, cheaper price, and so on. So you need to prove you are better. And then if you're getting their acceptance, like they decide to click on you, you're on the next step, yeah? And that's your product detail page. And if your main picture is perfect, is amazing, and your product detail pages has nothing, like no A+ content, poor bullet points, no reviews, like, okay, you should have reviews because otherwise it's also gonna impact your CTR, but it's a process. And then advertising is on top of it, where you can show your product in front of the right people. That's what advertising does. Everything else is optimization. And Hunter, exactly as you told, 80-20, most of the sellers are focusing on those 80%, trying to change the logo, trying to, I don't know, get their costs lower while they cannot sell the product, you know, like, oh, I'm not able to sell my product, but I will try to figure out if I can make cost of my product to be lower. It's a secondary part. You need to make sure the customer likes your product, they love your product, they want to click on it, they won't buy it. And then that's the most complicated, and that's also the most avoided. It's much easier to load your product on Amazon, just start running ads and then say, hey, it's not working, Amazon is bad, Amazon is no longer a place where you can make profit, it's oversaturated. No, it just requires more involvement and more tests.
Yeah, I think people give up a little too early. And, you know, I think because we have the privilege of dealing with so many brands, we're able to see like, hey, this is possible. And hey, these guys are making a crazy amount of money. And Amazon's still printing for a lot of brands. It's just the reputation that, and a lot of it is people don't take that extreme ownership. It's, okay, what am I doing wrong and how can I really improve that? Because, I mean, just for instance, we had a new brand that was around 30K a month that wasn't even paying attention to Amazon. Same exact thing that you're saying, where they're like, oh, it's not really worth it, the fees, blah, blah, blah. And within 5 months, we took them to 120K a month with over 35% margins, right? So it's almost 40 grand a month in additional profit for that business. And they just had heard bad things about Amazon, so they didn't want to pursue it. So like when you're going through the search query performance report, what are kind of the biggest indicators like, hey, this product has a lot of room to improve, or, you know, specific indicators that you look at that give you that 20% if you had to boil it down to just a few of the variables?
So first of all, it's about understanding your visibility. Sometimes brands try to optimize the keyword where they already maxing out their opportunity. Like there are keywords where there is already no space to evolve, and in terms of visibility, yeah, and that's where you can use impression share metric. It's the way how you can do this calculation is you have impressions total count, yeah, and this is like total market impressions, and you can calculate average impressions per one search, yeah, and then you can do 2 million divided by 69,000, and we will not do the calculation right now, but overall it's about 25 search products, like, so on average customer views creates 25 impressions, yeah, and it's taking into account those 50 and 15 from the mobile. Overall you get like 25 average. Then you have your brand share, and based on how many products on average is viewed on Amazon, you can calculate your maximum impression share. If you have one parent ASIN that is available on that keyword, that you can calculate, you divide 1 divided by 25. The idea is there is in total on average 25 products viewed. One of those products can be mine. Now the search query performance report contains organic sales and PPC sales, and it only contains your sponsor product sales. So it does not contain sponsored brands, video, display. It also only contains top of search and rest of search. This is highly important to understand your impressions and clicks metrics. So when you want to calculate what is your maximum impression share, as you remember, you can hold sponsor product position and you can hold organic position, yeah, and it will be reflected in this report. So you can get maximum 2 placements out of those 25 searches. And then if you do the calculation, 2 divided by 25, you will get 8%. So what I'm trying to tell you is that looking at the impression share, you can understand your visibility if it's maxed out already, like pushing like for half more percent will cost you a ton of money, or it actually has a lot of room for opportunity. As I mentioned, like if it's 25 on average, you have 2 views per product, per one product, it will be 8%. 8%, it's not possible. The actual metric is about like 5%, is a very decent performance. So if your impression share is higher than 5%, or even let's say 4.5%, you're already almost at the maximum capacity of this keyword in terms of visibility. So like trying to push more ads most likely will not help, but you can try, because as I mentioned, this reporting is pretty tricky. So, you know, it's all about testing. So that's how you can use impression share to understand the visibility and if the keyword is maxed out. The second thing is about understanding your impression share to click share. So if your impression share is lower than clicks, yeah, obviously that means your CTR is much better than market. So that's already a green light for your relevancy. And then if your impression share is lower than your purchase share, and you need to take into account that your impression share should not be like the maximum, that means this is a highly relevant keyword for you and there is a room for opportunity. Now, the best use case for this, identify the keywords where your purchase share is higher than impression share, but taking into account that your impression share is like not almost maxed out. Yes, it's pretty low. That means you get less visibility for the relevant keyword. And now the super simple solution, you just start targeting or increasing budget for that keyword so you can get more visibility. Most likely you will get more sales, more profit. Here we go. We just scaled our sales through the search query performance analysis. This one is, I believe, the most popular way. Next one, if you're a bigger brand already and you are interested to understand like what percentage of the market do I hold, I recommend downloading this report on a weekly basis and always tracking your purchase share, click share by keyword to understand is my competition is growing in terms of purchase share and market share, or I still hold the same market size. So that's important to track, because when you are growing, you will face more and more competitors trying to take over your sales.
Yeah, tons of actionable data. And when you're exporting these, do you typically load them into a template? How do you personally take this data and move it into tracking?
At My Real Profit, we do provide this reporting and it's fully automated. So, if you are our customer, you will get like the automated report. For you, it will be zero manual work. And then we pull data on a weekly basis, so you can track this performance on a weekly basis. If you do want to use this reporting, I do recommend you to do exports. If you want to utilize this report without any tools, I recommend you to generate downloads. Always when you click on generate download, you have options to click simple view or comprehensive view. Always select comprehensive view. It will provide you with most amount of metrics and save those reports. Because search query performance report, as you can see, reports are available to download from 1st of September 2022 onward. If this date filter is set prior to this date, you won't be able to download this report. So look, those reports are most likely going to be available like for 18 months back from what I remember last time. So you need to double check how far back you can go, but make sure you download them on like weekly or monthly basis. And even if you're not utilizing, just download them, because data is your asset and data is also your competitive advantage. So they will not disappear. And once in a while, you will get a question, okay, how we performed in 2023, 2024, 2025 for August. And you get those reports, and then you can see if your performance is better because market size increased, or it's better just because you did some adjustments that are actually working. So download comprehensive view, and then you will get the same exact view in Excel, and just work with this reporting in the Excel. As I mentioned, you have brand count, total count, just divide one by another. And yeah, that's it. It's pretty simple. So no templates, unfortunately, but it's already presented in a pretty good way.
Yeah, definitely. And you can just create those columns and be able to get that actionable insight. In terms of keeping it on My Real Profit, it essentially just updates every week, and then the brand doesn't even have to download it. And how do you kind of set it up from a view standpoint to get those important metrics? And is there ever, any negatives to it being pulled and streamlined like that?
No, I mean, you get all of the data. We also synchronize search query performance with the PPC. Technically, I can show you how it looks like. Okay, so that's how it looks like on My Real Profit. As you can see, you have weekly performance, week over week. And then you can see search volume changes. It will allow you to understand the market size changes. This one specifically was a Prime Day. Yeah, so you can see the market size went up during Prime Day. And then you can see your impression, click share, add to cart share, and purchase share. And for example, from this report, just this table, you already have actionable information stating you that during Prime Day, your sales went up, obviously. But now how about my competitors? Did they outperform me, or I performed better than my competition on Prime Day? And as I can see, my market share went up, and that means I performed better than my competitors, because my sales went up, but also the market size increased. So that's like my market share increased and market size increased, so that's doubling the performance.
So how do you isolate it down if, say there's more competitors in the market, that come in? Do you take that into account as well?
This reporting contains like all the market. So, if someone is from a competitor starting selling on this keyword, it will be automatically populated here.
Wow. So we basically can, just off the bat be able to see, hey, there's more competition now in the market and I'm still gaining market share, with that being a variable.
Yeah, the most important part here is like the market size. Yeah, so like market can increase and your market share, that's a great example here, 3rd of June. So sometimes you might not even notice when you're losing sales, because market size will increase and your market share will go down. And that's 3rd of June. Here we can see that's the market impressions. As you remember, it's exactly the same as from the search query performance report. You can see market impressions, brand impressions, then share, then clicks, add to carts, and purchases. So as you can see, 3rd of June, if we compare May 27th of May to 3rd of June, you can see your brand purchases went up, yeah, by 40 more orders. So technically you're doing great. It's better than previous week performance. But if we look at the market size went up and your market share went down. So that means competitors performed better than you. And from the sales perspective, you will see, okay, everything is going well, everything is fine. In reality, you lost market share. And that means you actually were supposed to make more sales during that week.
Yeah, I think this chart alone really summarizes a few things. One, how archaic Amazon is in terms of the data they give out. You know, like you'd think in-house they could give sellers like a clear view like this, but having something like this really is a cheat code. Like being able to have the true sense of what's going on in your account. Ever since we implemented My Real Profit, I feel like I'm playing with cheat codes, literally. And for instance, we run into it all the time where brands are like, hey, you know, something's going on, and they want to like make a reaction off of it, but it's not always from the true sense of data, right? So sometimes a brand is like, hey, my sales are down, you know, we gotta cancel the ad campaigns or something, you know, and it's just like, hey man, it's just not rational. Let's zoom out and take a look at the data. And having something like this to lean on is really instrumental for showing both ways that things are going and really taking a strategy into account long term. And as I mentioned, you know, in my opinion, everything good in life comes from compound interest. And what I see a lot of sellers doing is they build a strategy for like 2 or 3 months, and then something happens that's not a truth data, where it's like an external circumstance or, you know, something's happening, and they make a decision off the incorrect data point, and it causes them to then break that strategy too early, and they don't get the yield, right? And typically in business, things are like hockey sticks. So it's like, no result, 4 months in, where's my results? And then all of a sudden, boom, you know, your business freaking 50% growth in a month or 100% growth in a month. And the key is maintaining that strategy and understanding what's going on. So, I mean, this stuff has been super instrumental. So appreciate you for building that. We'll put a link to your guys' software to sign up in our description. Who are your typical clients typically?
Our typical client is the seller who makes about 6 million in revenue per year. So those usually are sellers that are dominating in their category, holding some bestseller budgets. So it's pretty advanced ones, but it's also available for any of the sellers. And we do have clients that started working with us when they were just making like $20,000 in revenue, and as of now they make like $200,000 in revenue. And the entire journey from 20K to 200K, they were working with us closely, and we were providing with all of the needed data. But most of the times our typical client is either advanced agency as yourself, Hunter, or big Amazon seller.
Yeah, definitely. I think this stuff definitely is more granular, I think, from just a small seller. But I mean, even small sellers, I'm sure, could benefit a ton. But overall, I think we kind of hit the major points for the Search Query Performance Report. A lot of actual steps that you can take and implement into the business. And I think the important thing to note is actually implementation, and not just watching some video or taking in information and not actively doing something. So, you know, if you're watching this, you've made it this far, make an actionable plan and start implementing some of what we talked about into your business so that you can see these results. We can export it straight into Excel, right, and create your own templates, or you can move into a profit or, you know, a program like My Real Profit. But I mean, I think you nailed it on the head with so many actionable insights to take brands to the next level. Is there anything that you wanted to add from metric standpoints or, you know, overall discussion points?
I only want to add that, as Hunter said, guys, you need to go and take actionable steps. No one will do it except you. So, you know, download the Search Query Performance Report, take a look how it works, take a look at your data. If you're confused, feel free to connect with me or Hunter. We will help and navigate you how to utilize everything. So yeah, thank you so much, Hunter, for inviting me. I believe we covered every possible corner of the Search Query Performance Report, and we'll be very excited to join on other videos.
Damon, I appreciate you coming on, especially because we work so closely with your software, and we really see, you know, the impact it has across our accounts, having those data points. And if you're a seller that is still lower range, under $30,000 a month, you know, the goal of this channel is to provide you value and help scale you to the point where you're hitting 30, 100, you know, 100K months. And scaling on Amazon is hard. Coming firsthand, you know, being a brand owner myself, is difficult, especially with all of the information online. You get paralysis analysis with just looking at all sorts of things. things. So again, implementation is huge. If you're at the 30K to 150, 200K mark and you feel stuck and you need a resource to help take you to the next level, you can book the link in my bio and we'll go through a complete A to Z strategy and build it out for you and give you some light just to provide value and help you take your business to the next level. We've seen tremendous results in Amazon currently across our entire portfolio. Just took, a brand from 30K a month to 150K a month. I just took a brand to 180K a month, and all maintain very, very healthy profit margins. So Amazon 100% is still very, very profitable. You just need to make sure that you have all the cards stacked in your favor, so you can book a link there. And if you're still looking for some more actionable advice to implement, you can check out this video I just made about PPC campaigns and their source of truth and how we optimize our campaigns.
Hey Hunter, do you offer a free audit?
Yeah, and we also offer free audits, so you can click in that link and book your strategy call. We'll give you A to Z Amazon audit, and on top of that, we will also go through and actually build your strategy. So we're not just doing the PPC side, but we do the creative side, the catalog, A to Z in terms of scaling brands on Amazon.
Sounds like a no-brainer. Sellers, check this out. Thank you so much for inviting me, Hunter. Have a great day.
Appreciate you, brother.